All right. Chuck Pressburg, Presscheck Training and Consulting. Now that we got all that stuffy antenna theory crap out of the way, now we got to talk soup to nuts about how to use these radios, right? So the Triumph Instrument 148 Surrogate, aka Poser, Stolen Valor radio. First thing that I saw that was kind of different from this, and maybe it's just my memory, I do not remember a lockout feature to turn the radio on and off. I believe that that this button on the side here was a lockout to prevent you from accidentally zeroing out the radio. But on the TRI version, you must hold that down in order to power up your radio. Love the backlight. Looks exactly, feels exactly like my old Hotness, the 148. Man, I really think that's pretty cool. Okay, where we start to get different is that this button on the top was a channel selector on the 148 and the 148 Gem. But on this, it is user programmable to either adjust frequency or adjust preset channel. I haven't figured out how to set it to do preset channel yet. So when I spin my channel knob, I am actually changing the frequency of the top band. This is not a transmit receive. When you normally see two frequencies like that side by side on a traditional radio like your 152 or whatever, that's going to be a transmit and a receive mode for duplex channels. What the hell is a duplex channel, Chuck? I don't know either. It's like SATCOM and shit. It sends it up on 174 whatever, and it comes back down on 175 whatever. I don't know. Ask somebody smarter than me. You guys are here to hear how a grunt uses radio, not how to build a damn radio. That's what my combo buddies are for, right? That's some other YouTube video, not this one. But the up and down arrows, damn it, not the up and down arrows. The mode button. The mode button gives you this button, this arrow here, and it goes up and back and forth between the two bands. So this would allow you to have a VHF and a UHF channel. See, we got something in the 160 VHF high, and then we've got a 435 in that UHF bandwidth, right? So when you're pushing that mode button, it's just bouncing you back between those two freaks. You can actually assign this channel knob here to do the same thing and have those freaks on preset channels up here. Just quite haven't figured that out yet on this version. This is an actual Thales, whatever, however you pronounce their name, MBITR battery. So this is a 4.8 amp hour battery. And so it'll hook up in any MBITR charger, et cetera, et cetera. They have an actual adapter that clicks on the top that allows you to wall charge this. It does charge slower than when it's in a no-shit 148, single port or multi-port charger. But I ain't about that expensive life. So this shit just sits in the wall overnight, and then it's good. I disconnect it, put it back on the radio. I got 35 hours on standby yesterday using this battery, so it's pretty good. It's fresh. It's brand new. It's awesome. So on the MBITR, these are user definable channels. There's a number 1 and a number 2, and you can program them to do different stuff. A lot of units or organizations will have these set up to where you can push and hold, and it will change you from internal speaker to external speaker, internal audio, external audio. And the reason for that is in the event that your hand mic cable gets sheared off in a fight or whatever, gets snagged, ripped, and you need to pull this thing out and no shit use it like a walkie-talkie. You don't have to go in, alt menu, mode, up, down arrows, blah, 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 select, enter, nope, not side tone, I want whatever, enter, which is what you would do as a normal grunt with the 148 system. You'd have to go deep down into the menus and then change the audio from internal to external. You do the exact same thing on the TRI, you just don't, it's not the same menu, but there is a method, so that's why you did not hear any beeping when I was pressing the buttons. This thing is set up for external audio right now. I have gone into the menu. There's about 32, 33 different sub-menus on the TRI, and it explains them in flow charts here, although they did use a Chinese to English translator. Or maybe they just used a guy that took English in college and was really fucked up, and when he, drunk, when he decided to do this manual. But it has some very just hilarious, stereotypical Chinese to English grammatical errors in it, which makes it more enjoyable. But it explains all that crap in there. All right, and then the big button on the side, that's your push to talk, right? And then the bottom one is open squelch. And so when you press open squelch, it takes squelch off. How do I explain squelch? So the radio would be receiving and then transmitting to you through the speaker white noise, the popcorn, the sounds of the atmospheric universe. And it would do that shit all the time, which would give your position away and be annoying as fuck and run your battery down. So squelch creates a threshold of signal strength coming in there, and it does not broadcast the background noise and crap, and only sends the transmission to your speaker to be heard when it reaches a certain threshold. Somebody that's a smarter commenter than me, you can go ahead and write down in the comments that I'm stupid, and that's not exactly what it means at all. But I think I'm pretty close on that one. So if somebody is at what we call French comms, you've already heard me use that term once. French comms means that you're at the maximum range based on your power and antenna output and atmospheric conditions and terrain between the sending and receiving stations, that the transmission is coming in weak or broken or both. And when you have broken transmission, that usually means that based off of atmospherics and line of sight, even the guy turning while he's talking, he can mask the antenna and put himself between the antenna and who he's trying to talk to. And so if he's kind of talking out loud on target with his mic keyed and walking around in the house, some of that RF energy is going to get out cleaner and push further than other RF energy that is masked by additional walls, the guy's body, whatever. So you'll get that choppy, here, next, built, 14, and it just sounds all jacked up. So when you're at that edge and you're starting to hear that, it is possible that some of that communication was weak due to the lack of signal strength, and then it went into the junk mail box, and it didn't make it in. It was caught in the squelch trap, and it didn't make it to your speakers for you to be able to hear. So when people are coming in really, really weak but readable, and sometimes broken, you can hold down the old squelch button, and now you get that background static. So think of the zombie movie when they go to the ham radio guy's house and they're just kind of slowly turning the knob, and they can hear the psh, and then occasionally hear some shit way off in the distance. This button just lets you do that manually. That's all. On the top, it has military 6-pin ground. Okay, 6-pin ground, not grounded, but ground meaning ground applications. Somebody decided 6-pin, somebody way a long time ago, because the Prick 25 in Nam had 6-pin on top. Somebody decided that this was going to be a good deal. All these little brass things, these are called pins. They are actually little mini hot shoes, and they transmit data back and forth, RF energy, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff, to corresponding receivers inside of connectors for your various audio devices, whether it be H250 Dogbone hand mic or high-speed push-to-talk handsets. So on the top of this radio, as with a 148, you have a threaded-on antenna port, which takes all of the antennas that we talked about in the last video. We have a 6-pin connector, which push and turns and locks in using pins inside, and it has an O-ring to keep shorting from happening, right? And if the O-ring is brand new, it will be very hard to attach. If the O-ring is missing, it'll be extremely easy to attach. Think hot dog down the hallway. And that's when you're going to get moisture and stuff in there. So that covers the external features of this 148 wannabe radio and the old 148. It has an Alt button down here. If you hit Alt-Enter, it turns on your backlighting keypad, and then Alt-Enter again shuts it off. Otherwise, when you mess with the radio, the light will light up, and then in a menu contained within both on the actual GEM and on the TRI, it will give you the opportunity to user select how long you want that backlight to stay on before it goes off. All right. Woohoo! Moving on to push to talks. Push to talks. PTT. My faves, and the one that I've used more of than any other companies, is the Television Equipment Associates. And their sub was Davies. These push-to-talks are bomb-proof. They are also extremely expensive, depending on what accessories you want with the PTT. What accessories do you say, Chuck? Well, these specifically here have a side component which has trying to line up my camera. I'm using a Garmin Verb camera, which is like a GoPro, and it's mounted to my head because I need to use both hands, and you guys are always bitching about me using my phone. So don't think I ever didn't listen to y'all. So these 2-pin correspond with 2-pin mic connectors for various military radios and the Peltors. So right here I have what we call a Y cable. This is what you need to hook a Peltor Comtac single com up to my Davis TEA push talk. This is called a Nexus pigtail or a Uniform 92AU. So I just call it a Nexus pigtail. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. All right. So audio and transmit and receive both on different channels. The wires are hooked to these different pieces of metal, and there's insulators in there, and they correspond with the same shit in here. And that's how these plugs work. That's why if you attach, sometimes you can hear people, but they can't hear you. And it is because you have the audio portion of your connector mated up, but because it isn't all the way in, you don't have the mic portion. So speaker portion attached, speaker and mic portion attached. Everybody tracking? All right, now you know a little bit something more about the Nexus pigtail. So back to this 2-pin design on the side. Why do you have a 2-pin design here, Chuck? Well, let me tell you. My gas masks had a 2-pin on the outside that was designed for pilots so that pilots could fly in a nuclear, biological, chemical environment when their aircraft was dirty, and they actually had a radio speaker inside of their gas mask. And to maintain the seal, they had a molded 2-pin connector on the outside of the mask. So you could get an accessory cable that was 2 pins on both sides. You could plug that into your gas mask and then plug the other side into your push-to-talk here. And it made for a really, really clean radio transmission when you were operating in a nuclear, biological, chemical environment. Now, it is possible to take that exact same cable, and this is a Peltor Comtac in the dual-com configuration. All right. In the dual-com configuration, the audio out buttons are... Come on, man. You've been plugged in there for a while, haven't you, buddy? Come out. All right. So on the dual-com's version, you have hardwired cables in the back. Yes, they're normally much longer than this. I had the privilege of working with some of the best communications professionals on the planet, and they actually pulled the cable off of the circuit board inside, shortened it up to the length that I want, and then resoldered it to the board so that I didn't have 2.5 feet of cable to go 8 inches to my push-to-talk. So in an NBC environment, these boom mics on the Peltors are ambidextrous. Damn it, I'm not looking down enough. I need to adjust my camera. Oop. All right. So these boom mics are ambidextrous, and they can also be removed altogether. Right. So take the boom mic off, and I could plug my gas mask right in the back here. But in testing, something about interfacing with the Peltor system gave us a little bit more impedance. All right, that essentially means shit not working together. All right, inside of my whatever. So the 2-pin cable that went from the gas mask, totally skipping the Peltor and going into the side of the PTT here, provided for better audio. So TEA cracked the code on the gas mask impedance issue. So the Nexus pigtail here is providing speaker receiving information from the PTT, but the PTT is receiving microphone information from the inside of my gas mask, not through the audio system of the Peltor Comtac at all. So that is why. That is an extra accessory that people that had gas masks that didn't have internal comms would never need. So I don't know the retail price on this exact headset and this configuration, but I've been quoted by people smarter than me that this is between $600 and $750 for this piece of kit right here. It's got a movable spring-loaded clip, alligator clip, really beefy. That thing locks onto your gear and doesn't want to let go. It's pretty good stuff. And then, as you can see, the female portion of the Nexus pigtail, there's enough of it in here that it can be routed up into MOLLE, rubber band in the side, the shoulder straps. There's a bunch of different ways that you can configure this. If you're trying to get as low profile as possible, you can remove the alligator clip altogether and use zip ties and zip tie this thing to MOLLE, however you want to run it. All right, so that covers the pigtail. Now, what do I put my pigtails into? Well, that covers one of my pigtails. Excuse me, let me back up before we go to headsets. Here is another TEA Dave